Hey guys! I've talked about not really knowing which god has been trying to contact me. Well, I've taken some time and found out there's two gods. Sorry if my brightness goes in and out. As you can tell, I am not filming in my normal spot because I am not currently home, but I still wanted to get a video out this week. Actually, a few videos out this week for you guys. Odin and Bragi. Everyone knows more about Odin than Bragi. Bragi is the god of poetry. I love that because of all gods and goddesses that I have found have special meaning to me that involves my personal life. I knew for a bit about Bragi, but I was waiting to connect with him more, and Odin was recent, that he had spoken to me more. I am a poet and a writer, so Bragi had a meaning to me. I am German, Native American, and Italian descent. So Norse/Germanic witchcraft has been a big part of my craft as well as Celtic. Let's go on to tell you about the gods themselves. Since Bragi, which I'll have a picture here, was the first to communicate with me, I wanted to talk about him first. He was addressed as an old wise bard or poet of Valhalla. Most know what Valhalla is, but if you do not, then Valhalla is the Hall of the Fallen, where Odin housed the dead who he deemed worthy of dwelling with him. If you want a video on Valhalla, please comment below. Old Norse poetry from the Viking Age features Bragi a lot. He's entertaining the Anharja, which means the ones that fight alone. They are elite, deceased members of Valhalla. He is also known to welcome the new souls to Valhalla. One edict states that Bragi has runes carved on his tongue. Before his death, Bragi was a poet. Bragi Bod Assam. He created magic with his poetry. When he passed, Odin appointed him the poet of Valhalla. This is a direct quote from the site. The old Norse writers of the Christian Middle Age took this as a step further and portrayed Bragi as having been nothing less than a god of poetry. One such author even claimed that one of the old Norse words for poetry, bragur, was derived from Bragi's name. He was said to be the husband of the goddess Idun, whose fruits guarantee continued immortality of the gods. Signs of a bard is a long beard, harps or other bardic instruments, symbols of comfort, luxury, and relaxation, winter hearths and fireplaces, concerts, plays, and performances. Okay, let's go on to the next most known Viking god, Odin. This is how you properly spell it. Will be right here. Odin's name can be translated as Master of Ecstasy. He is one of the most mythical creatures in the Norse mythology. He is the ruler of Aesir tribe of deities. He is known as a relentless seeker and giver of wisdom, but he has little regard for communal values such as justice, fairness, or respect for law and conviction. He is a divine patron of rules, but also outcasts. He is not only a war god, but a poetry god. He has feminine tendencies which would have brought unspeakable shame to the history of a Viking warrior. A quote from the direct site. He's worshipped by those in search of prestige, honor, and nobility, yet he is often cursed for being a fiddle trickster. From how he is portrayed in today's times, they believe that he was this great warrior like his son, Thor, but that wasn't the whole truth. He was more of a peacekeeping god. He never concerned himself with the average warriors. He only surrounded himself with warriors that he deemed worthy. He maintained particular close affiliations with the berserkers, and other warrior shamans, whose fought techniques and associated spiritual practices center around achieving a state of ecstatic unification with certain totem animals, usually wolves or bears, and by extension with Odin himself, the master of such beasts. An interesting feature of Odin's personal appearance is his missing eye, which he had sacrificed for wisdom. He is seen wearing eye patch to cover the eye socket. He also sacrificed himself for himself by hanging for 9 days and nights on the world tree Yggdrasil. The tree is said to be the mighty tree whose trunk rises at the center of the Norse spiritual cosmos. When he did this, he received no form of nourishment from anyone. After the 9 days, he perceived the runes like we use as divination now. This is the start of the divination of runes. It was the written letters of the Germanic people before the Latin alphabet was constructed. The root to Odin getting his name was from the Medes' Old Norse *oþr*, the stirrer of Othur. And as we have seen in Othur, ecstasy, fury, inspiration. One of his many names is Allfather. According to Snorri Sturluson, he was the father of the gods. As we know, he is a divine ancestor of many families all around Northern Europe. He is a Asur god, also a Vanir god, and a giant, son of Bestel, who was the first frost giant. One Old Norse poem even identifies him as *ūanda*, or the breath of life. Odin was seen as the favorite god to outcasts or outlaws because of how strong-willed Odin is. Danish historian Saxo Grammaticus even relates a tale of Odin being outlawed by Asgard for 10 years so that the other gods and goddesses wouldn't be tarnished by the vile reputation he had acquired amongst many humans. Odin was also seen as a Sedar, which in the Norse culture, a male Sedar was not the greatest thing to be because of the gender roles they had back then. Saxo, in the passage on Odin's exile, relates that by his stage tricks and assumptions of women's work, he had brought foulest scandal of the name of the gods. He was known to be a master in necromancy, the magic art of bringing back or even talking to the dead. One of the reasons he mastered this art was so that he could speak with the dead to gain knowledge. Another reason, that possibly is the main reason, is that he wanted as many amazing warriors on his side when he faced the wolf Fenrir during Ragnarok. Odin speaks only in poems, and the ability to compose poetry is a gift that he grants at his pleasure. He stole the mead of poetry. It is the source and the ability to speak and write beautifully from the giants. He has dispensed it to whomever, gods, humans, etc., that he deemed worthy. He is known to take dangerous quests to gain wisdom, so he kind of backed himself away from the other gods and goddesses so that he did not tarnish them with his quests. With him being so competitive, he challenged the wisest of the giants to a contest to see who was more knowledgeable. The contest winner would receive the loser's head. Odin won by asking the giant something that only he himself could know. He, with Freyja, were one of the two greatest suitors, and his adventures were well documented in the book called... He would travel to distant lands for his own and for other people, while appearing to others as asleep or dead. While, like all shamans, are accompanied by many familiar spirits, the most known is the ravens Hugin and Munin, the wolves Gir and Fricke in the Valkyrie. Shamans are supposed to go through a ritual death and rebirth, and Odin was no exception. His spiritual death and rebirth is when he discovered the ruins. I'm sorry that kind of stopped off bluntly, but if you have anything to add about Odin or Bragi, or if I'm pronouncing certain names or things wrong, I am still learning, just like you are if you're on this video, to learn about gods. Please put them in the comments below. And if you want to collab on Norse mythology or Norse witchcraft, please email me at this email and we can set something up. I am so happy that I have finally found where my place is, and I'm starting to feel completely whole, especially since I found these gods. With them being gods of poetry and wisdom, that means a lot to me, because as you can tell, I created this channel to help others, and that's what I want to do, and gain knowledge and learn, because when I'm doing these videos, what you may not know is I'm actually teaching myself new things, and that's what I love about this. I've always wanted to be a teacher, but I realized teaching for me with children is not what I want to do. I want to teach other people things that I'm interested in. So if you aren't already and you want to learn about Wicca and witchcraft and, well, have other fun videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, you guys.